My brand is not just about the word Cooley.
Yep.
My brand is what people say about me when I'm not in front of them.
Yep.
That's my brand.
Damien Cooley, thank you so much for coming in to the Moxham Mindset this morning. You're a busy man, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm excited to be here.
We've got a lot to talk about.
We do.
I'm going to get straight into asking you about your background and where you grew up.
Rosebery.
Yep. So you're a Sydney boy?
Southeastern suburbs.
Yeah.
I don't like to call it eastern suburbs because the thought of going to Double Bay, which is where my office is right now, was like the end of the earth.
Yes.
Growing up in Rosebery. But my old man was a conveyancing solicitor.
Was he?
In Rosebery.
Yep.
Had a little family law business.
Yep.
And I went to boarding school at St. Greg's in Campbelltown. And I really enjoyed the Maris Brother education.
Yes.
And I loved boarding school.
Yes.
And as a result of being at boarding school, we had a lot of country kids at our college.
Yep.
And that's where I found my love and passion for the country
Yes.
and outdoors.
Yes.
And I left school in 1998 and I got into real estate in April 1999. Do you remember the big hailstorm that ripped through Sydney?
Yes.
That was my first week in real estate.
Yeah, right. So I did some other things. I was in the advertising industry after school, but I started real estate late. But similar. So 20 sort of early 20s, close to 20 years in the industry.
Yep.
So out of school, straight into real estate?
Well, I actually went to uni for a week.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah,
right.
For a week. I hated it.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was back at school again.
Yeah.
And Dad's a lawyer, my brother was a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try and get into law.
Yep.
And I just missed out in my I think it was called I can't remember what it's called, a UAI or something like that.
Right.
I just missed out. I got over 90, but I just missed out to get into straight law. So I had to do an arts degree to then transfer into a law degree.
Uh-huh.
And it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into real estate. I enjoyed watching auctions as a kid, walking around the streets and seeing a property go to auction.
Yeah.
And it just looked like a cool industry.
And you were into agency, so being a real estate agent?
Yeah, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do.
Yep.
But I worked for a company up in Randwick called Elders Real Estate.
Yes.
And Elders were Robert Anderson, Graham Anderson, and Peter Anderson were the directors of that company.
Yep.
And their father Keith actually started the business, and I'm forever in debt for what I've learnt from them, from being a leasing consultant to a property manager, to Robert being really the catalyst for me starting my auctioneering career almost. He actually came down and asked me if I wanted to go in the Real Estate Institute of New South Wales Novice Auctioneers competition.
Yeah, really?
And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Awesome. So that's two questions I think that you've answered I was going to ask. And one of was how did you get into auctioneering? And the other was, I was going to ask a little bit later, was have you ever, what have you done that sort of got yourself way out of your comfort zone? And I think that's probably one, being a first auctioneer. There's no way I could see myself doing it. And on that point, so was that did it come natural to you? I felt like it did. Yep.
I mean, I did public speaking and debating at school.
Uh-huh.
So I was always comfortable speaking in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
One thing I was actually only telling a friend of mine on the weekend, he didn't believe me, so I had to pull the ribbons out and show him, but I was the under-25s national wool classing champion.
No. Yeah. Well, so wool classing is tell me
fleeces.
Right.
Yeah, literally. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because you had four fleeces.
Yeah.
There was usually a reasonably clear sort of standout.
Yeah.
A clear sort of fourth.
Yeah.
And then you had the middle ones. You had to decide sort of which one was
in
front of the other.
Yeah.
Where I did well was that after you judged the four fleeces, you had to get up and stand up in front of the audience and tell them why you put those fleeces in the order. So a lot of the country kids would, probably much better wool classer than I was, but I was able to get up and talk on the microphone and do really well. So I won the Sydney Royal Easter Show. I went to Adelaide, won the Adelaide Royal Easter Show.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And that was really cool. But so I still got the ribbons.
Oh, that's so cool. And isn't debating, my young fella, we were just chatting before recording, he's 10 and he's wants to start doing debating at school. And I couldn't think of too many things that would be as wonderful for kids and for teenagers and growing up, to be able to be a good debater, to set yourself up in life, business.
Yep.
So what a great skill to be able to do.
Being able to, it's confidence.
Yes,
a lot of it
and
is about
structured
confidence.
sort of rebuttals and all of that sort of thing.
Yep. Being measured in your reply.
Yep.
That was a great thing for my career.
Yep.
I was always quite an outgoing person.
Yep.
My mum actually recently passed away, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
And it was, obviously, I've been through everything, but one thing that Mum did was she wrote all us kids a card. It was to be opened up on our birthdays. So I opened it last year. And Mum said to me, Damien, you're always going to shine, but don't forget what's important. But the always going to shine was the part that I want to sort of just touch on here, because there was always something in me that had no problem standing up in front of people, sticking up for people, talking about what I was passionate about, and having an excited personality.
Yep.
And I think that's probably something for me that just felt like it really came naturally.
Yeah, definitely, and I could see that, and I think that's something within us humans, that having that sort of and being quite charismatic, and I think having that sort of attractive personality is a real it's something that people vibe off, and people
Absolutely.
like being a part of, and is clearly a great, is a great key in you developing, what you've built with the business.
Well, when I started in real estate, there's a couple of things I think that kind of underpin my attitude moving forward now into business.
Yep.
And one of those was day one in real estate. One of the agents, Mark Simon, came down to me and said, Damien, can you get the spray and wipe and the Chucks cleaner, and can you just go and clean the windows out the front of the office? It's like, mate, give it to me. Bang, went out the front, I'm spraying the thing, wiping the windows down. And Robert Anderson, the boss, came down and said, what are you doing? I said, Mark asked me to clean the windows. That's what I'm doing. And Mark's inside killing himself laughing. So it was a prank. Get the new kid to go and clean the windows.
Brilliant.
But for me, that's always been my attitude.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm at the office and the floors need vacuuming, I'll vacuum the floors.
Yeah.
If the bin needs emptying, I'll empty the bins.
Yeah, and enjoy it and do it with passion, and
I think that's the winning attitude of nothing's above.
Yep.
It shouldn't be above anyone in business.
Yep.
And I think for me, I've really carried that a mantra right the way through in my career.
Yeah, brilliant. When did Cooley Auctions start, and how long were you an auctioneer before you started Cooley's, and was there a vision to be where you are? It's a couple of questions there, but was there a vision to build what you're building?
So we started a business in 2003.
Yes.
The catalyst for me starting the business was I actually got sacked at McGrath. And it was when that happened, I was really at the crossroads. What do I do?
How long had you been an agent for?
I was never a listing agent.
Yep.
So I was in property management.
Yep.
And auctioning.
Yep.
Auctioneering.
Yep.
That 2003 is when I started the company. So 99 is when I started in real estate. I was only at McGrath for probably about 6 months.
Yep.
Or maybe 12 months.
Yep.
I actually went jackarooing for 12 months.
Yep.
Came back.
Oh.
I went droving for 9.
Where'd you go jackarooing?
Up at a place called Mungandai.
Uh-huh.
Well, that was where my base was, but we were on the road. So, we went all around the place.
Yeah. My sister's
incredible experience.
Lives up that way.
So when I got sacked from McGrath, it was I'm back up against the wall. I was 23 years old. For me, I really had nothing to lose. So 2 parts to answer your question about did I have a vision and when did I start. 2003 was my first year in business. I think for me at the time, I had to borrow money to get a laptop. We were renting an apartment in Beecham Road in Maroubra. And there were 3 of us in the apartment. We're paying $450 a week in rent. My contribution to that was $150. There was often times where I couldn't afford to pay my $150 in the rent. So I'd get the other 2 boys $150, go to the real estate agent, pay the $300 and say, look, sorry, one of the boys hasn't been able to pay me just yet. I was waiting on a check to clear or, something like that. But, what do they say? Fly by the seat of your pants.
100%.
2003, first year in business, we did 392 auctions, which I was stoked at. My second year, I did almost 1,000.
Can I ask, when you started, was it just yourself as the auctioneer?
Yep.
And a key, I think you were the first one in the industry to really grow a specialist auction business, but to scale it.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm very interested in that. And it's
because in auctioneering, as you know, like, it is a lot about the individual.
100%. And it's this is the it's one of the great things I like to talk about on this podcast is being a business owner and small business. It's that great next step of being able to grow, which you've done, but to still be the face, but also have other people, and for the business to still have the kudos that it does, and you to be able to. Talk us through that.
So for me, I guess, for me, it was all about, at the beginning, it was about me.
Yep.
Because I was the business.
Yep.
And I've actually found it relatively easy bringing other auctioneers on.
Yep.
And getting those auctioneers to do auctions for me when I was unable to.
And was that a plan when you started on your own? No. So it was, look, I'm going to go hard, do auctions, it's like an agent, listing and selling. That's all I'm focused on. And then natural progression, it's like, look, I want to grow, and, people sort of followed you in.
It was really about, even when I first started, it wasn't so much about wanting to have other auctioneers to do the auctions. Is more about, like, I needed other auctioneers, because if I gave that auction if that auction went to another auctioneer, then I would potentially lose that client altogether. It wasn't about just losing that one auction. It's like, if you're not available all the time, and you don't have another solution, it's much easier for that person to create a relationship with somebody else, and that does happen. And
it's like the lead agent, starting off and listing too many properties and need to grow and get the people underneath them. So for me, in the early days, it was about bringing people into the business and supporting them and getting them to build their own profile within the company. And I made loads of mistakes in those early days. The biggest mistake that I really made is I felt like I was growing for the wrong reasons in some cases. Like I wasn't profitable. Actually, wasn't profitable. Done that.
It looked good.
Grow for show. That was the term I learnt a lot from.
It looked good, but I wasn't profitable. And I really now focus much more on the profitability rather than how many auctions we do.
And you've got to, I think I've done exactly the same thing, and I think you've got to go through that. What's really important, like, growth is important, but I mean, you do, yes, you love it, but you got to make a quid out of it as well.
You have to.
And have you sought advice? And obviously you've got a great network of people around you. What are your thoughts on on business coaching and that sort of thing?
Probably three things in my career I think that have been incredible big influences. And there's not necessarily just one person. Business coaching, brand and marketing, and my fitness.
Brilliant.
Because I feel like I went to ARIC one year, and it was the first sort of real estate conference that I'd been to. And I listened to a guy called Dr. Fred Gross. And Dr. Fred just changed the way that I look at things. And I literally live every week now by his core principles. And his core principles in basic
I got goosebumps.
Summary, are about living your life by design. Do the things that make you happy. Big on writing out your goals. I've got my personal goals, I've got my business goals, and I've got my life goals. And I'm excited about those things.
Yes, so brilliant. Isn't it so important to be excited?
It's so important to be excited.
If you're not excited, it's just it's just so important. And it's I'm very big and deep on all of that sort of thing, and the energy that you put out when you're excited versus, I really don't want to be doing this. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Do something that you're really, really good at it and just do it as much as you possibly can and have other people around you to do the things that, you know, don't vibe you, because it's all about the vibe you create. And the more you're down that road, and it's one of the reasons why I started this podcast. It's just, I just loved talking to other people about it. Started by writing books, reading books, posting about it, and I got lots of great feedback, and it's just something I love to do, and great things have come as a result of it. And sorry, I digress, but it's just it's a great subject. And so getting back to the point, so yes, so you've obviously, you know, you're the face, you're the you know, I'm not even sure what your title is. You're the CEO, you're the auctioneer, but you've obviously been smart enough to say, well, look, you know, this area is maybe not my strength. I need to get the right people in to tell me.
Productive activity.
100%.
You know, Dr. Fred focuses on dollar productive activity. Do the things that are going to be the most productive for earning the money. And do it well. And have somebody else do the things that they want to do. That they're dollar productive in those activities. And the part to that, right, is about living your life by design. Is that you don't have to have a bum on a seat sitting in an office at a keyboard. For what reason? In our office, all of my auctioneers and staff run their own little businesses within our business. And I don't micromanage them at all. I say to them, if you don't have any work to do, or if you feel like you don't want to be at the office, don't be at the office.
And is that is it a contractor type model that you run?
Both.
Bit of both.
Both.
Flexible.
We have employees, and we have employed auctioneers. And we have contractors. So our model is a little bit different. In the sense that most auction companies have contracted auctioneers. And they run on an independent contract. There's obviously rules and regs about what you can and can't do in employing people or somebody to be a contractor, and being able to offer someone a career as an auctioneer and want them full time, I have to employ them. And they also benefit a lot by being around me kind of all the time in business, and listening to conversations that I'm having, and watching all of my auctions.
It's a great thing, isn't it? Like, it's honestly one of my favourite things to do. Is I love growing people and just seeing the advancement in people that, for example, will come and be glued to your side for a couple of years, and it's just a great thing, isn't it?
Jumping in the car on a Saturday and coming around and watching all of my auctions, and talking about what happened at that auction when we get in the car. Like, that's kind of the sacred time, because you jump in the car, you've just finished that auction. Okay, this is why I did X, Y, Z. This is why I did that. Did you see when that person did this, and that's how I reacted? That's
the gold, isn't it? They're the nuggets that the people don't get unless they're with, you know, someone like yourself. That's wonderful.
And, for me now, like, looking at the auctioneers that we have, a lot of the like, I used one of our auctioneers, Jake Moore. You know, if you listen to Jake Auction, and Andrew, my brother, who's not with us anymore, who's gone and started his own company, which has been fabulous for him.
Awesome.
If you listen to Andrew Auction, like, it just sounds like me. If you listen to Jake Auction, it really just sounds like me. They have their own personalities. Which is important. But a lot of the things that they say, a lot of their mannerisms.
Well, you know, they come to learn from the best, and it's it's just mirroring, you know, what has been successful.
Absolutely.
It's not reinventing the wheel.
Exactly the same thing.
Speaking about doing what you love, I have a coach that I've had for 7 years now. I speak to sort of once a week, and I was chatting to her just last week, and I was sort of, she's, how are you going with this? And it's been an ongoing thing. I haven't quite done it. She said, just stop it. Don't do it anymore. Get someone else to do it. And it's like, I've been doing this for so long, and even that's what I'm the same. I love having the right people around me, because, you know, it's just, no, stop it. Right, okay, great. All I want to do is just what I'm really good at and what I love at, and then I can be, if I get off path, it's like, no, get back on track. It's like, you know, it's like an Olympic athlete. I mean, athletes have, you know, they have coaches for everything. Why can't you know, people in business? And
I've got coaches for everything. You know, the other two parts that I was going to mention, one's brand, which we'll get to in a minute. And the second part is like fitness, and I've got marketing people that look after the brand, and I've got a coach that I have as a fitness coach.
Brilliant.
So there is a coach for everything.
Awesome. one thing that I've always been curious about, and residential versus commercial, I suppose this is a discussion point really, but it's I've always been big on investing in myself and growing and coaching, and look, there's I think there's a couple of agents, but not that many in commercial that are like that versus residential, where the top percentage of agents are just they're spending thousands of dollars on themselves every year. They've got coaches, they've got this, they're up early every morning. It's a really interesting point. And I think when I left the institutional business that I was in to go and have the partnership with the White family, which was a wonderful journey, it was just the blank canvas of just, I called it resifying a commercial business, because there's, and I think auctioneering's similar, there's the top, there's a bigger, deeper group in residential that are doing it really, really well versus commercial. And it's just an interesting point.
From an outsider looking in the commercial space, the resi agents are probably more diligent with their mindset. I like, and it's great that the Moxham mindset, right? Because it is all about mindset.
100%
it is. All about your attitude.
Yeah.
And it is all about how you apply yourself and really how bad you want it.
Yeah.
Because if you want something, you can achieve it.
Absolutely.
Full stop.
Yep. 100%.
Resi agents are well motivated.
Yep.
I feel probably more so than the commercial agents, and I think there is a difference between a resi agent and a commercial agent, in the sense that the commercial agents feel like, the resi agents are, dealing with the mum and dads and dealing with an emotional type buyer, and commercial agent deals with a, in some cases, it's institutional buyers, or they also deal with mum and dads too. But, they're different buyer pools. And different psychology of buying.
It's
the
interesting.
resi agents are very much. I think that's probably testimony to seeing a few of the better resi agents and being quite prolific on social media. The younger agents coming through, like, I want to be like that person. I want to be like that person. What do they do? Well, they get up at 4:30 in the morning. They run. They make 50 or 100 phone calls before 10:30 in the morning. They're doing X, Y, Z. So they're doing all of that stuff. And then you've got the real estate coaches who are training for not just motivation, but skill. And the young agents coming through are obviously being trained by them. And they're putting this into place. I mean, the modern day resi agent now is just an absolute workhorse.
Absolute machine. It so true.
Anyone wanting to get into real estate, Jeff, thinks it's easy, forget it.
Work-life balance, like, what is that? Does that even exist?
In the early days, I had zero balance. Zero balance. I laugh when people go, mate, you need balance. I'm like, mate, you want to be successful.
Forget it.
There's no such thing as balance.
That's it.
You get balance, I think, as you get older. And your career changes. That's when you start getting a bit of balance.
Correct.
In the early days, absolutely.
And I don't think you get to have that luxury until you've just absolutely just been in the trenches for a long time, and then you've made the decision to have balance and to grow a business, and you can go to the farm and spend time and it's a beautiful thing, and you bloody well deserve it for the people. And it's always a common sort of theme, isn't it?
It is. That starts becoming an achievement.
Yes.
So, one thing that Peppy, my wife, would always say to me, she said, Damien, you're never going to be happy. I said, well, it's not that I'm not happy, it's just that I want to try and achieve something else. But what Pep was saying was that I need to acknowledge my achievements. Because I would achieve a goal and then I'd forget about it. And what I would do, Jeff, is that I have all my personal... So use personal goals, for example. I have all my personal goals written down. I achieve it, disappears. Now what I do is I achieve it, I move it into an achievements page. And so every year, anytime I'm feeling a bit down on myself, I go back and I look at my achievements and I'm like, dude,
we have very, very similar. I've only just got into that recently. I'm exactly the same, and it is so easy to forget. And it's just mindset, just such a massive, important part to achievement and all of that. And just that's a huge part of that has been for me. Is exactly that, saying, totally the same if you're having a bit of a down day, or you're not firing, or you didn't have a meeting that was as good as. It's like, hang on, go easy on yourself. Look what you've achieved,
Yes.
and give yourself a bit of a clap, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, that's good, and it just lifts your spirit and your mindset.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
on goals, and we'll talk about goals, and we're gonna have a short break because I always love talking about goals, and I'm hugely goal driven myself, and just it's a fascinating subject, and different people have different ways of applying it, and so you've already mentioned, and thanks for raising it, so personal and business goals. And can you talk us through your sort of process on how you go like to go about achieving your goals?
Sure. Well,
and setting them.
Setting a goal actually, funnily enough, can be hard in some respects because you got to try and think about what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people just say, an easy one for people to relate to would be, I want to lose weight.
Yep.
Well, that's not a goal.
Yep.
Your goal is, I want to lose 4 kilos by the 5th of May.
Yep.
Right? That's a goal.
Yep.
First of all, you've got a defined target, and you've got a deadline on when you've got to achieve that goal.
Yep.
And what I love about Dr. Fred is that he has, rewards and non-rewards. Now, a reward is something that you would give yourself for achieving that goal. A non-reward is something that you would almost punish yourself with as a result of not achieving that goal.
So there's consequence.
Yeah. So I might say, okay, if I was wanting to lose 4 kilos and I achieve that goal, I'm going to treat myself to a 1 hour massage at a day spa.
Yeah.
If I don't achieve that goal, I'm sending that 1 hour massage to David Scholes to go and enjoy a massage. Now, I don't want to give Scholes a 1 hour massage. I'm sure he'd love it. But that's like a reward versus a non-reward.
That's great tip.
The whole idea about it is that you want to achieve that goal because you don't want to have to do the other one. That's probably a bad example because
that's a great example. That's a great example. And yeah, I think that general, it's what I was talking to my coach about the other day, and I just wasn't doing this thing, and I didn't have a consequence. So it's like I just wasn't doing it because there was other things that I wanted to do more.
Yes.
But you got to have a consequence.
And the thing is though, Jeff, sometimes when you set a goal and it doesn't become important anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually okay.
Yeah.
Everything has an expiry date.
Yes.
Everything has an expiry date.
Yep.
So I was big into my running, like really big into my running. I did trail running, and I've done 2 Ironmans. And I was running 100k races, and then COVID hit, and COVID for me was just like I threw the towel in. I got a leg injury. I stopped running altogether. I bought a restaurant and a wine bar, so that was more important to me than going out and running.
Whereabouts?
In Randwick.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm an investor with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Really, I'm doing it for him.
And some fun.
And just some fun.
Yeah.
But that for me had an expiry date.
Yeah.
Now, that expiry date, I think, is actually coming back into my life, or the running's coming back into my life.
Yeah.
And I'm about to flick the switch and really
get back into it.
Yeah. Now, I just I didn't go off the rails, but I went off the rails in terms of...
Oh, how bad's that? Sorry about that.
So, for me, I stopped running, and that was okay.
Yeah.
And taking it back up again is also okay.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. It's being okay with what's ebbing and flowing in your life at the time, because it's all happening for a reason, isn't it? And it's
really is.
Whatever it is that's come and going, and your wants and needs and aspirations. And such a good point that you made. It's being okay with what is, because what is what is, and that's it's such a massive point of that. That's just been huge. I've been just doing a lot of sort of studying and different, books and do a lot of courses and on all this sort of stuff. And it's, just being okay with what is coming and going is huge, I think. Especially for people that are like yourself and like myself, back on like what you were saying before, once you've made an achievement, we're so addicted to achieving and going to the next step, and it's like, just take a step back and give yourself a pat on the back and be okay with and say thanks to yourself.
I've heard a lot of people say sometimes when you set goals and you achieve them, it becomes more about fulfillment. So it becomes more about what fulfills you necessarily, rather than like, oh, I've got to achieve that goal, boom, boom, boom. It's like, what actually makes you happy?
Yes.
Do the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
You know, we're not getting any younger. And you got to do the things that make you happy, and don't worry about what people think about you.
Yeah.
Don't, because everyone else is worried about themselves.
Yeah.
And let them worry about themselves, and you worry about yourself.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that it is. My old man used to say, it's not money isn't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen, but which is pretty right. However, when you're dead, no one's going to worry about how much money you wrote in March.
Oh,
right?
Man.
So it is about doing the things that make you happy.
Yep.
And you need to have those goals to strive to achieve things.
Yeah.
And the life goals.
I think so. I agree.
Your life goals are the ones that are the most enjoyable to think about.
Yes.
You know?
I want to ask you on that in a moment. One thing that came to my mind, a quote that I came across recently, which I just love, and it's about doing things that you enjoy, is, and thinking about your goals, is to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So if you're having a tough time and you're probably you're on one of those sort of downward spirals, and it's like just thinking about achieving something that you really want to achieve, and it's instantly just a pep up, and then you're back on track, just thinking about the things that you love and doing what you love and achieving that goal. Yeah.
They make you excited. They make you smile.
Yeah.
They make you want to get up in the morning and go and earn the money that you want to earn to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I say, like, you're not in a job. Job stands for just over broke. We're in a career. You know, we're all about.
That's a ripper.
We use the income that we make in whatever field that you're in. Should be used to do the things that you want to do and create wealth and have a wealth plan. And that's another big part of my life is my wealth creation plan.
Yes.
And I have been designing my future since I started in business.
Brilliant. That is just awesome. And on that point, we're going to have a short break, and we're going to come back in a few minutes.
Cool.
Thank you. Welcome back. Part 2. More really cool things to talk about, and a couple of things I'm very interested in talking to you about, because I think you've done it the best in the industry. Firstly, branding. I look at Cooley Auctions, and we were speaking about the orange tie in the break, and you've grown a big business, and brand is always on point. And talk us through how you've done that, and the important parts that you've instilled in your business, and how you have instilled that brand to be so on point.
For me, firstly, I don't do any of the design.
Yep.
Justin Martin from a company called Studio Marto has designed our brand since the day I started.
Yep.
And when I first started in auctioneering, our brand was actually called Rescom Auction Services. Residential and Commercial Auction Services. I worked for
How long was it that for?
Not long. A week. No, I'm joking. Look, it might have been 6 months.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of incredibly big influences in my life. Justin's absolutely been one of them. Peter Etheridge, an auctioneer, has been another.
Wow.
Pete's company was called National Auction Services.
Yes.
And I've learnt so much from Pete on how to be an auctioneer.
Right.
But Justin's influence on me in brand, I have absolute complete trust in him. Virtually every single thing that he puts in front of me, I just love. It actually gets boring for me in the end, because I'm like, Justin, just do it. You don't even need to show me, mate. Just do it. That's what we're going to do, because he's so good.
Yeah.
So we went from Rescom Auction Services to Cooley Auction Services to Cooley Auctions, and we've just rebranded to Cooley. You need to refresh your brand.
Yep.
You need to. And look, in fairness, I probably could have done it another time in there. I feel like at one stage in my career, we were just sort of spinning the wheels.
Yep.
And at that time, I did make changes, and one of them was brand. And it also is about how it influences me, and how it makes me feel. So having a refreshed brand and a new logo, new marketing, it actually makes me feel good about myself. And when I feel good, everything falls into place.
I was just about to say, I mean, having the leader to be feeling at their absolute best all the time, and we spoke about it before, but it's how you feel inside and how you feel when you look at your business card, and every day it's like it's those vibes that you're creating that it all flows from there, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, we were speaking before about, you said, you know, you weren't sure what my title is. When you said CEO, I was like, yeah, on LinkedIn it does say CEO, but one thing that I'm really big on is actually not having titles.
Yeah, right.
You know, no one in our office really, so like, that's not your role, that's not, you know, everyone knows their role.
Yep.
But everyone helps each other.
Yeah.
You know, we come, and this comes back on our brand, I feel, because we all have an attitude of we're all in this together.
Yep.
You don't work for me, and I don't work for you. We work together.
Yep. How many in the team now, in the business?
We've got about 15 to 17 auctioneers.
Yep.
Where there's 4 or 5 of us that are in the office you know, all the time.
Yep.
We were bigger.
Yep.
We did have more auctioneers.
Yep.
We were less profitable.
Yep, we've spoken about that. It's
we, you know, from a branding point of view, it is all about excellence.
Yep.
And having standards of excellence. And my brand is not just about the word Cooley.
Yep.
My brand is what people say about me when I'm not in front of them.
Yep.
That's my brand.
Bingo.
My brand is the way I look and feel when I'm doing an auction on a Saturday or midweek at an in-room auction.
Yep.
My brand is I get my shoes polished once a week.
Yep.
I get my car washed twice a week.
Yep.
I always look good.
Yep.
I'm sitting here right now with my orange tie on.
Yep.
I'd much rather not have it on and have an open collar, but I wear this because I know that people are going to be watching it.
Yep.
And they're going to be looking at me, and this is my brand.
Yep.
This colour is my brand.
Yep.
It is about the way it makes me feel. Having a clean car makes me feel good when I get in the car and drive away.
Yep.
Funny I say that, because when I was coming here, my car's filthy. I was like, I've got to get to the car wash, and I didn't have time to do it. I got it washed on Saturday. It was only a couple of days ago, but amazing how quickly they get dirty.
I did it this morning. I'm exactly the same.
You know, I shave every day.
Yeah.
I shave every day.
Yeah.
And if my guys come to the office, they'll know that if they haven't shaved, I say, go home.
Yeah.
Go shave.
Yeah.
Because it is a standard of excellence.
Yes.
That it's like, these are the things that you just do every day.
Yes.
And they become a habit.
Yep.
And they influence your brand.
Yeah, 100%.
Because your brand is not just the logo, it's you.
Do you have a marketing, or we spoke of before, you do, you've got a marketing director, manager internally.
Yep.
What stage of the business's growth did you bring something in-house to manage your brand?
It's funny, I've always done a lot of it myself.
Yep.
You know, PR, I've done all myself.
Yep.
From a market, we have had marketing people in our business.
Yes.
Right at this very moment, we don't, but we're actually just about to re-employ someone.
Yep.
Because it is a workload.
Yes.
And we want to be doing things that are just different.
Yes.
So we're actually employing a writer.
Yes.
And Gabby is going to be writing like editorial pieces on auctions that our auctioneers do, so that we can give our client the editorial piece, and then our client can use that editorial piece to market their result.
Brilliant.
And it will come from a third person. It's not us gloating about our result.
Yep.
The agent not gloating about the result. It's been written professionally by a person employed by us.
Yep.
About the agent and about the auctioneer, coming from a third person point of view.
Yep.
And then we can all use it, you know, socially.
Yep.
It's almost like it's seeing it in the Sun Herald.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So that for us, in terms of marketing, there's loads of different types of aspects to that. You know, there's a social media aspect.
I was just about to ask you about social media.
There is an aspect on the way, the look and feel of the brand.
Yep.
And there are marketing is how you communicate with your customers.
Yes.
And that's all changing so rapidly.
Isn't it?
You know, we don't hardly do any of the things that when I first started in real estate.
Yep.
Marketing also, I believe, you know, comes back to, I said media's been a big thing for me. PR been a big thing for me.
Yep.
When I first started in my auctioneering business, I had 2 appointments in my week that were non-negotiable, and they were called media hour.
Yep.
They'd be in there for an hour. Sometimes I'd only do 30 minutes.
Yep.
But I basically had a call list of journalists that I would ring.
Yep.
And they were all the different news crews.
Yep.
They were media in the industry, editorial pieces, Telegraph, Herald.
Yep.
So I consistently called all those journalists for years.
Yep.
Every Saturday morning when I got in the car, I'd ring Channel 9 and I'd ring Channel 7 and I'd speak to the news desk and I'd ask them if they're doing a real estate story. And if they were doing a real estate story, then guess who was going to be on the telly?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Because they would say, actually, Damien, yeah, we are. We're doing a real estate story this weekend.
Yep.
What auctions have you got on?
Yep.
And I'd say, well, what are you looking for? And they'd say, well, we want something out west. So I'd send them to one of my auctioneers out west. Or we want something in the eastern suburbs. Or there's the stories on first home buyers. Have you got anyone, first home buyers, buying a property today?
Yeah.
So I knew all this information.
Yeah.
And I'd match the journalist to the right property that I knew was going to be a good result. And then I was on the telly that night.
Yeah.
In my orange tie.
Yeah.
On
Doing
brand,
your thing.
On brand.
Yeah.
So media hour for me was a big thing, and I built my business off the back of that PR and off the back of that exposure.
Yeah.
Because
and I think you were the first auctioneer to really get into that space. You know, in in big time, really, weren't you? I think.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
My days, although they were short at McGrath, I learned a lot about business whilst being there.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned a lot from John. I got to sit in the car with John multiple times going around and watching him auction.
Yeah, absolute legend.
And listening to him about, his standards of excellence and his daily routine. And I learned a huge amount.
When speaking very earlier about there's a couple of brands in the industry, that's another brand that I see that has done, and again, self-started, self-made. I think it's such a wonderful, wonderful story, and it's just, it's always on point, and no matter where it is. And I think, kudos to that story as well. Social media, obviously, you were a trailblazer in social media in your space, and now it's obviously a very big part of, most successful agents' businesses.
Yep.
So for someone starting out, for any of our listeners starting out, what do you think, what's a tip or two in social media for personal branding that you think's important?
So we've got a company account for Cooley, and I've got a personal account for Damien Cooley.
Yes.
When I post on my personal account, it is business and personal.
Yes.
I don't personally have a Damien Cooley, professional page and a Damien Cooley personal page.
Yep.
I think socially people want to know who you are.
Yeah.
And they want to see what you do, and they want to be involved in your personal life.
Yep.
They also want to see your business stuff.
Yep.
So, it is, I think, the most important thing about social for us as auctioneers.
Yep.
You got to mix things up. Like I do feel, and even me now, like I still feel like sometimes, God, I've got to start mixing things up. You're posting too much of the same sort of like sold.
It's
that's
about
the market though, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a good problem to have. Such a great trust builder, isn't it?
It's a trust builder, Jeff, and I think that it is a way that you're able to get in front of your customer without being in front of them annoyingly, right?
You're in front of them if they want you to be in front of them.
Yes.
I mean, you're in front of them. You're there for them to check you out if they want to.
I actually think that your social media becomes a bit more like a business card.
I was just about to say, it's the greatest bio ever.
Exactly.
And I think it's just, I know I recently engaged an agent to sell my property, William Chan, Marshall Yale, fantastic agents. Well done, William, did an awesome job. I already knew who I was going to pick really before I had sort of made the decision, and credit to William, huge social media profile, very professional, and I think I say to everyone out there, agents or whatever business you're in, it is, most people are Googling you or your service before they're buying, and it's just the greatest digital CV.
Yes.
You can't not have one.
When I want to go to a restaurant, I look on Instagram and see what their photos are like.
Absolutely.
when I want to really do a lot, like most things, I actually look on social.
Yeah.
I actually don't go to the website.
Yeah.
However, you need to have all the boxes ticked.
Yeah, you do. It's a holistic approach, isn't it? Like
Absolutely.
It's every it's just so
You
important.
have to have every box ticked. I do think we can spend too much time on social.
Yep.
I'm definitely guilty of jumping on and scrolling.
Yep.
I'm definitely guilty of looking at things that probably just take up time.
Yeah,
that
me
aren't
too.
Productive.
Yeah, my wife was reminding me that of just yesterday, actually. It's terrible. It's an ongoing discussion.
Yeah, but I also quite enjoy like looking at boring stuff.
Yeah,
It gets my mind off all the other stresses in life. So, I think that you've got to be careful about that.
Yep.
And I think to a certain degree the jury's out a little bit on how much time we spend on social media.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can manage to, like I was saying before about having media hour.
Yep.
I think what I actually need to get better at is having like a social hour. For example. Okay,
100%.
I'm going to focus on it now.
Yep.
And then done. I want to look at it after that.
I've actually just started doing that myself. So I'll be naturally, if I have 5 seconds spare or I'm waiting for this, I'll go and I'll have a look. I'm really trying to not do that, and I'm going to my list of really important things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to do that, and it's just about trying to sort of retrain your mind, isn't it? It's but yeah, I'm trying to do exactly the same thing. It's hard, but it's just like anything, you've got to focus on it. Do you have socials in-house to manage your posting and all of that sort of stuff?
No, I do my own.
Yep.
Yeah, personally, I do
yep.
my own.
Yeah, brilliant.
Business, the company.
Yep.
We have somebody in the office that does the company stuff. Yeah, and I can also post on the company profile.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah, the company one, again, we've got marketing campaigns that Justin has designed.
Yep.
That we run around this. Like our current campaign is that we have a photo of the property.
Yep.
And then we have our logo, Cooley, and then it's got an arrow and says sold this.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we're in this sort of space where we've got to be careful that we're not being seen to. We've got to be careful that we're not being seen to kind of take the kudos of the sale because it's the agent's sale.
Yep. It's a fine line.
But more about saying that we did this together.
Yeah, totally.
So
and that's the truth.
Yeah. There is definitely an element, and that's what the editorial piece that I was just talking about before for us is about having something written from a journalist.
Yep.
That involves the agent and us.
Yep. In commercial, I started socials a while ago, and I remember you saying you got to a point where you brought some socials in house, and I think for everybody listening, I think for those that are starting out, it's just starting small steps, isn't it? And understanding, what works and what doesn't. My wife said on the weekend she does some personal posting for us, and it's also as you said before, people love to get to know people, and people want to know personality. Like I enjoy learning about other people. So there's some hot tips, audience, from one of the kings in the social media and marketing space. Don't be afraid. You got to start somewhere, and you got to have a digital bio these days. You absolutely
do.
You got to have it. You got to have it.
It's the face of your company.
That's it. For the listeners out there that are growing a business, and for those that they're doing everything. They're the technician. They're like you were when you were starting, and some late nights probably, and doing everything. You've grown the business to a great size. It's kept on brand. How do you manage your business internally? Like in terms of, do you have KPIs for your staff? How often are you meeting with your key staff? How do you keep that culture, not micromanage, allow people to do their thing? How does it sort of work for Coolies?
I think the meetings and the KPIs and the coaching is more intense at the beginning of the employees or contractors start the company.
Do you have a fixed? So for somebody starting to like a process,
I don't have we meet every 2 weeks, or we have 30 minutes here or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
it's a bit more ad lib for us.
Yeah,
but I've found that's worked well for me personally.
Yeah,
and
I'm the same.
So we had I had an auctioneer start with us in October.
Yep.
Adam Aubrey. Adam called his first auction I think 2 weeks ago. Nailed it.
Congratulations,
did a great job. And for Adam, he's been with me virtually almost every day, or every working day anyway.
Since
October.
Yep.
We've done, I don't know, 2 to 3 training sessions every week
Yep.
of live auction calls, whether it be me or whether it be Jake helping him or
Yep.
one of the other auctioneers.
Yep.
The big learning as an auctioneer, as I was mentioning before, is literally time in the saddle.
Yeah.
Like sitting next to me and just watching auctions,
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
Because you learn a lot. And
Yeah.
I watched Adam's first auction remotely, and everything that he was saying, I was like, good boy,
Yeah.
good boy.
Yeah.
Good
You're
boy.
like a proud
I
dad.
I say that. But the subconscious
Yeah.
of just listening
Yep.
has brought that out into the way that he auctions now.
Yep.
So I think as I said, in the early days, it's a bit more intense.
Yep.
I don't like to micromanage people.
Yep.
I think people need to make their own mistakes.
Yeah, 100%.
And you only get better when you do make mistakes.
Yep.
And for any auctioneer coming on board with us,
Yep.
for us, I can train anyone to be an auctioneer.
Yeah, brilliant.
But you can't train passion.
Yes.
You can't train drive.
Yes.
And as I said earlier, you've got to want something.
Yeah.
If you want something, you can achieve it.
Yeah.
I knew the first time I met Adam, I knew that he's going to make it.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
He sat in front of me and was like,
Yeah,
you're going to make it.
you're in. Yeah, brilliant. What do you feel, and do you have a vision for what the next sort of 5 to 10 years looks like? Obviously, you've
Yep.
achieved great success, in the auctioneering space. Is it, continuing to grow? What's the plan?
We definitely would like to be a nationwide business.
Yes.
Feels like I probably should have done that maybe 10 years ago. I felt like I was growing for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
I was paying people too much as a result of then the business not being profitable. So I wasn't not saying that I was paying people too much money. I was paying people too much money. The business wasn't making money. So I was like, well, the business can't afford to pay what they're paying. We're going to have to bring this back. And I lost a couple of auctioneers. So we took probably 3 steps backwards to go forward. And now I recognise one thing I've really learnt is that people don't work for me. We work together. Second part to that is I really understand and appreciate that everyone has their own agenda. If you want someone to work with you, you've got to pay them well, okay? Because they're not going to work for crap money. If you're paying them crap money, they're going to go somewhere else. So I know what I've just said almost contradicts each other, but what I mean by that is that you've got to give people career progression.
Yep.
If you do not give someone career progression, they're gone.
Yep.
Yeah. And you also have, in business, having the right people work for you for the right reasons rather than having someone work for you because you think they're just a gun, but they're actually a dickhead, or they're too overpowering in personality that they're actually going to bring down the culture of the company. So these are all the things that you learn, and I think that comes back. For me, it's gut feel.
Yeah.
I've made mistakes.
Yep.
I've had people work with me. I've just gone, nah.
Yeah.
Look, I think as your business gets a lot bigger, it gets harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I feel like we've got a really good team that care
awesome.
about each other.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to feel when you get up in the morning, isn't it?
Unbelievable thing to feel. Like Larissa's doing a lot more. Larissa basically, books all of our auctions. She's the rock in our company.
Yeah. She's the big cog.
Without Larissa.
Yeah.
Don't worry, she knows it, and I tell her all the time. The thing that I was actually found hard to let go of, in the COVID period, was the whole working from home thing.
Yeah.
I was like, we've got to be in the office, we've got to be together.
Yeah.
And now I've got such a more relaxed attitude about that. I still think it's important to be together and be in the office.
Yep.
But I've got more of a relaxed attitude around, you know what? They know what they need to get done.
Yep.
And they will get that done.
Yeah.
And if they don't get it done, well, then they're accountable for that.
That's it. It comes up.
But you got to give people free rein.
Yeah, so true. Letting people grow, it's something that I've really needed to focus on as well. Is you can be so passionate about what you want to achieve, and I've really had to focus on it over the years. Is sort of stepping back and letting people sort of, as you say, make their own mistakes and achieve their own wins.
Dollar productive activity.
100%.
Got to be dollar productive.
Damien Cooley, thank you so much for your time. We're running out of time. There's definitely lots more that I wanted to ask you, but hey, we got some good flow going, and I'd really appreciate it. You're a busy man, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.